Alright, well, sonic cleaner is running. Gonna pop the clutch and hand wheel off this machine. And see, it's got a standard style clutch. This nut was in backwards, but it also then has this other trim piece, which is interesting. Never seen that on one of these before. Alright, so this clutch is actually interesting, two parts for the hand wheel. So the regular nut and washer was on there, but the hand wheel has the counterweight for the shaft built into this piece, and that locks into a pin on the shaft, so it's got the counterweight here, and then the main pulley, it's got two clutch surfaces to work with, or rather it's got a secondary space here, and that way the counterweight is hidden inside the hand wheel instead of installed on the back of the shaft here. So that's interesting. I will get these cleaned up real good, and so that I can oil them. And I took this off because I want to get the bobbin winder here off and get that cleaned up, because it is filthy. It seems to work, but I'd like it to be a little cleaner looking. So the winder here has this bracket that it connects on, and so we'll just take this bracket off. And since there's no major issues with the winder, I won't disassemble it unless I feel like it needs to get taken apart for better cleaning. But first stop, we'll just see if it runs through the sonic cleaner and starts to look better. This winder has automatic release. It's got a drive pin on the side and the spring for class 15, so it should grab just about any style of bobbin. And it's got the spring for automatic pressure on the wheel, so a pretty nice bobbin winder. This machine is pretty luxurious overall. Definitely the most features before they started to cut them to cut costs. Put a end on the plug wire, and time to check the lamp. So check this out. It's got the main sewing lamp, and then there's a Christmas tree lamp, an old style one, inside the machine to light up the dial for your zigzag width here, and this dial for the stitch length. So that's pretty cool. And I'm also really glad this wiring seems okay inside the machine, because I don't want to tear that up and have to replace it. Alright, I have given up on this stitch length display knob matching the dial. I thought about trying to change the spring in there to see, but I really think it needs either a key on the inside of this knob to interact with that changer, and some sort of stop. that is missing from this machine now, but I made sure that it, works properly, and I got it on the exact right thread. So that's functional, which is the most important part. And since I have been in the cleaner, I got all of the parts out to put the hand wheel back on, and the bobbin winder is cleaned up. I got the old tire cleaned out of there and cleaned that up pretty good, so we'll find our two mounting screws for this. Apparently, there. And then the hand wheel has the two sections to it, so we need to put our two halves together now that they're clean. So I'm going to oil this first part. Drop the balance section into the main wheel, and then slip the whole thing on and hold the machine and turn it until that balance wheel fits on the pin. So the hand wheel and then that balance weight is on the pin, and then we can put our washer and nut on. Alright, and I got that washer the right way around, so it's not gonna hit so that this nut won't hit the ears right away. So that there we go. Oh, I should have put a tire on that winder. It'd be a little hard to get the tire on there now since I've got that hand wheel in the way, but I will pop the winder on that, and then, or the tire on this winder, and then we'll measure up a belt. I do have to redo the motor that came off this because I don't have a spare motor laying around. So that is probably going to be next order of business after I get this back panel. And we'll put this lovely little pin keeper accessory back on. Let's see. Now, time for me to put the body of the machine aside and get the motor fixed up. When taking a closer look at the motor, I think that the wire going into the motor hasn't rotted. So I'm gonna try not cracking the motor open. But I did pull the pulley off. And you see it's all shiny in here. This entire wad of thread was wrapped on the pulley, and with the pulley off I can get at this ring of greasy thread that was wedged in on the motor shaft behind the pulley. So even though I may not be taking this motor apart, I'm gonna clean all this thread off of here, because you should never let this thread get wound up on your pulley like that, or on your motor. The only thing it can do is make your motor work harder and cause trouble. So you see how shiny that is from the thread wearing on it? So that's all cleaned up, and I'll clean this pulley up a bit and think more about this motor. I don't know that I want to open it up. And like, I've twisted on these wires as they come out of the motor, and they are not cracking the way they were rotted out in the further down the section here. So I think I'm gonna just put a pigtail on here and clean this using Q-tips from the end here, because it is kind of dusty, and if I can get a Q-tip in on the just like so, pull some of these big dust clumps out of the motor, and then clean the commutator off. That'll be enough service for this motor